Hello, hello, my friends. Just gonna hang a second. Let y'all get on. Come over here, Ruby. Ruby is wanting attention. I put a couple links in here. There we go. All right. Hello, hello, my friends. Oh, good. There we go. Now you guys are jumping on. Zena and Kim and Miss Buffy. Hey, Lori, I'm glad you're on. Can you put in the Fargo Expo link? That's so funny. I was just going, shit, I should have told Lori to jump on. Could you put in the link for the Fargo Expo coming up on April 29th? We are in Expo season. And if you're new here, that's Ruby. She's my kitty. She just woke up from a nap, so she thinks she needs some attention. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I thought I would pop on. I was going to come on early. I have had a flu bug all week. It is taking forever to move on. Just to move on. So I was going to come on right when I got back from Sedona and Abraham because I was so hyper. And then I got sick. So I thought I would jump on today and talk just a little bit about it. Some people had some questions about the experience. So I am happy to answer any questions about going to see Abraham. And of course, any questions around Sedona, because you know I love Sedona. I'm going to clean my glasses quick though. Hold on. So yeah, it is travel season. So I am doing a lot of travel at the moment from now through the summer. Actually, I have a whole lot of fun stuff coming up for different shows. So it's kind of fun because different places have different expos, and to build up and kind of spread the word of my business, it's really fun to do expos. I love going to expos, and it's a great place for new people to come and try out our work and meet us and see everything that we have to offer. And so a friend of mine many years ago gave me some great advice. And he said to just go and do expos at the places that you actually want to travel to. And I was like, that is a very smart idea. And so I started doing that. And so Montana obviously is a place that I'd love to go. And Lori Lashman has a couple expos, both in Butte and Billings. And then, of course, we have our Fargo. She just got done having Bismarck. So there's lots of different travel coming up that I like to incorporate into some of my fun time too. And I love expos anyways. I always have. I love the energy of them. I love meeting all the new people. I love doing the mini readings with people. I actually am going to be out in Iowa doing a couple expos, or not Lori's, but I'm doing one in May on the 20th and 21st at the fairgrounds out in Des Moines, Iowa. So I will be out there again. So if I have any friends out there that want space clearings, I'm going to be doing a class that I'll give you some more details on soon. We are going to be doing a class the night before the Butte show in Montana in June. So more details will be coming on that. And I believe I'm doing the galleries in both of those expos as well. So we got some different fun playthings coming up over the next few months. And I have a new offer coming out hopefully early next week that I'll let you know about that could be really powerful for some people that are guided to it. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's definitely going to be something that can lead you through from now through the summer months into the fall months. Which I think is where a lot of people, as much as the weather is great, some people really kind of need some support around that time. And so I wrapped in some of my travels along with it and some different offers. So I will be bringing that out to you as well too. Okay. So last week I was able to do a fun trip in Sedona, Arizona. And if you've never, how many of you that are watching, I know I have just a few on, how many of you have actually been to Sedona? So Sedona to me is so far one of the most magical places that I've been. And it keeps calling me back. The first time I went to Sedona, I actually did not like it. I never needed to go back again. I was really in an icky place in my life, and whatever's going on with you, Sedona will tend to elevate that a little bit so you can see it and you can move it and you can shift it. And I didn't realize that my first trip around, and I didn't have a lot of support when I went there. And so it was kind of a tough trip. I was like, never need to go back again. And then by the next year, I just kept getting called back to Sedona. I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those places. It's kind of like Montana for me. It just calls me when it's needed. And I usually try to go once or twice a year. A couple of years ago before COVID, I took a group there for a retreat, and it was freaking magical. I just loved it. And so we are going to be doing that again coming up in February of 2024. And I still have a few spots left. It's not a big retreat at all. It's very intimate. We definitely will be doing our own work, and we're going to be going out on the land a little bit and things like that. Sedona has definitely gotten a little bit more crowded, but I feel like if you can expect that, it doesn't need to be so frustrating. I hear a lot of people get really frustrated and almost angry about it. And, it's a magical place. Why would it not be spreading that energy around and calling in more people to support them? And because every time you leave Sedona, you feel better. You just do. You could go there and just sit there for a week and you would still feel better and not do anything. Just sit there in the energy of it and you will still feel better. And it's just something that occurs there. So as the world is having a lot of struggle in the past few years, of course, places like that are going to get busier. So you just need to figure out some different ways on how to manage things. We really followed, our trip was so smooth. I can't even tell you how smooth our trip was. Like we flew out of Bismarck, because Nikki lives in Bismarck, and her flight was earlier than my flight. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to do that. And so the drive to Bismarck sucked, but our roads have sucked all winter. But that was the only piece that really was not good about the trip, was my drive to get to Bismarck. It just took me about an hour longer than normal because the roads were so icy. But our flight was smooth. It was super on time. We had great seats. We got our luggage right away. I typically fly Allegiant and go just direct to Mesa, which is a smaller airport that I prefer. I got my rental car and off we went. And it was really fun because it just happened that Sunny and her crew were there doing their own retreat with their people, and they hadn't started yet. So we got to go get hugs and meet friends and all that kind of stuff, which was really fun. And I don't get to see all of them enough in person. So I really did appreciate that piece. And we had this great Airbnb that we rented. The hotels there typically are pretty expensive. And so I'm going to kick this person off. Hold on. Thank you. There you go. Delete. Ignore those people when they come on, you guys. I usually tend to do Airbnbs or VRBO when I go to places like that. I find that they're a little bit less expensive than the hotels. And honestly, it's kind of nice to have a kitchen and everything. And so that's our tendency. And we had a really beautiful one. I normally stay in the Oak Creek area, which is down from Sedona, and it's a little quieter, but we stayed up in West Sedona this time, which I've never stayed up there. It was great. I was shocked that I liked it so much. It was where we were at was really close to a place called the Stupa. We definitely could have walked there. It had hiking trails all behind it. So you can find some really good gems if you take the time to research and look a little bit. We did a ton of hiking. I always tell people go hiking. I do not tend to go on the main trails that a lot of people go on. Sometimes if I'm by myself, I will go to some of the more popular areas. But we really followed our intuition. I have an app on my phone called All Trails. And so we just kind of looked up for the amount that we wanted to hike. I'm not typically a 10 or 15 mile hiker. I'm like 1 to 5 miles, 4 miles. Although we did, should be proud of me, I did an 8.4 mile hike on one of the days, and I thought I was going to die. It was so nice out, and it was so sunny, and it was so beautiful. We were like, why, we might as well just keep going. Like, we've come this far, we might as well just keep going. And by the time we were done, the last hour, it was too much for me. The last hour, I was like, all right, this was too long for me. I'm not trained for this. We don't have enough water. Like, this is not okay. But we made it, and it was it was such a beautiful hike. And I think that's the thing people miss is they try to go to kind of some of the more popular trails that they see on social media all the time, Devil's Bridge and all those kind of things. But they're so crowded, and the parking lots are very, very small there. And so sometimes you need to sit and wait, and be patient and follow your gut. There was one trailhead that we went to, and I said, no, I think we just need to sit for a little bit. I think someone's going to leave, and maybe took 10 minutes and got out of our car and went on our hike and loved it. It was a great little hike. So they have small, easier hikes. They have definitely much more difficult hikes. On my retreat there, we have a plan for that. If there's people that want a little bit more of a tougher hike and they want a little bit more difficulty, or if people just want more of a nice walk through some of the trails and things like that. So we do have a plan for that. I do encourage people, if you are going to sign up for that retreat, I want you to be able to at least walk a couple miles though, pretty easily. Or you might miss out on the trail part, which would be too bad. There are a couple places we can still take you, and there's tons of places we can show you great views and things like that. But there is something to be said to be able to walk on the trails out there. It's gorgeous. And we can take you to the stupa and all those kind of places. So I think for Sedona, for me, it's a really healing place. I have ended up there at some really key points in life, when there was really some difficult things going on. Either I end up going beforehand, kind of to prepare myself, or I end up going afterwards, sometimes even during, like when I had a whole trip planned and it came up that we needed to move my dad into a nursing home. And I happened to be out there, and I had some best friends out there that I didn't expect to be out there. And so they were with me as I was getting all the pictures and upset because we had to move them into a nursing home and all that kind of stuff. So I've had some pretty amazing experiences out there. I also think Sedona is, you can experience pretty much anything out in Sedona, quite honestly. Like we saw ships when we were out there, like alien ships and things like that. There's tons of cool experiences like that. We've had a couple of the ladies in the retreat, they were having some past life experiences that took us a little bit to pick up on it. And then we were like, hey, why don't you two sit down? We have a little bit of past life stuff going on right here. Let's kind of work through that piece. And it just, whatever needs to come up to get you into a better vibration, that's what happens. And so that's what we did. We just went with the intention of being open and excited and led wherever we needed to go. We met tons of beautiful people. There was a gentleman on one of the trails. We were sad we didn't get a picture with him, but there was there's water out there right now because they've had a ton of rain, and that's not typical out there. And there was a gentleman, and he helped us do a river crossing on one of the trails. So helpful, so happy. And he was so excited for us to be out there. So I do feel like Sedona is a very friendly place to go. I actually suggested a lot to a lot of my clients, if they're looking for somewhere to go and they want some kind of an experience to go along with it, and they want to feel safe at the same time. Sedona, to me, feels very safe. I love it. So if you have questions on Sedona, always ask. And if you have questions on the retreat, please do ask. So we're going to go there February of 2024. And I do go in February on purpose. It's a little bit off season. It's a little bit cooler. There might be a little bit of snow or rain at that time. Sometimes it's gorgeous and 70, like it just doesn't matter. I do think when you're out on the land, it's nice to have it a little bit cooler. even the day that we did that big hike, it was almost too hot for it, and it was only 70. And so I go early on purpose, and it does help with the crowds a little bit. And the retreat is a little offset in the week. I think I did Sunday through Thursday, because during the week is much better out there than on the weekends to try to get anywhere and do anything and stay out of some of the traffic. And I will have some support there. Danny is going to come and help me with that. And we have a plan to get people around really nice and smooth. So if you have questions on that, please let me know. Okay. It was so fun seeing you, Danny. And Danny gave us a great restaurant to go to the night before we went home too. It was this barbecue place, and oh my God, it was amazing. Then after Sedona, we were super excited. Obviously, it felt so great to be in sunshine and heat and warm. My sunburn is now molting off my body. And then we got ready for Abraham. And how many of you know who Abraham is that are watching? How many of you listen to them? It's Esther Hicks, and then she channels the energy of Abraham. So if you don't know what channeling is, this might be a confusing conversation for you. But channeling happens all over the place. It happens in church. It happens during readings. It happens in galleries. It happens in the spiritual world a lot. There's lots of different experiences of channeling. And so Esther Hicks is 75 now. She's been channeling Abraham for years and years. I don't know how many years, but they are on YouTube. So you can look up either Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks. And Abraham is energy that comes through. To me, it feels like some of the most pure energy to listen to. It matches for me. It aligns with me. I like how they talk about things. They talk about the law of attraction. They talk about how to move yourself into kind of a more aligned place, a higher vibration. They give a lot of different tools and techniques. They have a ton of books. They have a ton of, I was going to bring out the deck of cards that I got. They have tons of oracle cards. They have tons of different exercises to help with your mindset. And I think it's really, for me, has been a tool that I just listen to them all the time. When I'm doing my big old road trips, oftentimes I have Abraham playing in the background, because you don't always have to listen specifically to them. Sometimes it's just being in the vibration. And so I've wanted to see them for years and years. And I had kind of been thinking about it in 2019, 2020, and then COVID happened. And so it's been on hold. It's kind of one of my bucket list things. And it came up and I saw it and I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to go to that. I think I need to go to that. And I had a whole different thing planned. I actually think we had our Sedona trip planned for this week. And I just knew I needed to move it out a little bit. And I think it's because I was supposed to go see Abraham. So we were up early. I could barely eat my breakfast. I was so excited. I got myself in line, and all week I had been knowing and intending and manifesting that I was going to get up front. Because I don't hear all that well sometimes if it's a huge crowd and there's 1,000 people that go to these. So I really wanted to sit close, because then I pay attention and I can focus. And so we got second row right on the edge. We had the most awesome seats. We sat next to this woman. Sistine was her name. Such a beautiful name. She lives out there. And we just had a ball. It was so much fun. It is so worth it. I'd love to know if you actually have specific questions on Abraham or on our experience. That would be great. So they kind of do it cool, because there's a hot seat that we can sit on. If we have a question and they pick us, you go and you sit on the hot seat. But what I thought was interesting is the hot seat has its back towards the crowd. And I think it's because then Abraham can be completely present with that person, and they're not thinking about all of us. I mean, I'm sure they are when they're up there to a point, but then they kind of draw them in. It was so cool. And when Esther comes out, she talks to you just for a few minutes as her. She's the most beautiful lady. She's just gorgeous. Super funny. She was super funny. And she kind of has her thing that she does to open up the energy, and she gets everyone in a good mood and all that kind of good stuff. And then she went and she was standing behind the podium, and she was calling in that energy, kind of like a very short meditation is kind of what it looked like. And I was paying so much attention because I wanted to feel what it felt like when she pulled Abraham in, and I could feel the vibration in the room change. And that was really cool. I did post some photos. I don't think we're supposed to post photos, but I did. Haven't gotten in trouble so far. And I figured Abraham would take them off if I was supposed to. But it was so cool to see the light in the room change, and the light in and around her shifted, and I could see it energetically. So that was super cool. I did not get picked for a question. I did raise my hand several times, because why not? Why wouldn't you try? And there was one point where Abraham kind of looked. They were going behind me, but they kind of scanned the audience. And when they came by me and Nikki, I was like, whoa, like I could feel the energy of it. I was like, oh my God, I think I almost peed my pants because the energy was so strong. And then they picked somebody right behind us, which is really cool to listen to them. And so that was cool to feel. I just thought, oh, that's plenty. I'm good. That was awesome. And they talked a lot. Our day that they talked, because I think every time they have a group, there's kind of a theme that shows up. At least that's what it felt like to me. And they'll talk for a while, then they take like a 25-minute break, talk for a while. I think it's like an hour that they talk, take a break, hour, take a break, and then they come back and close up. And which was interesting because I always wondered if she gets fatigued channeling like that. Or maybe it's just the audience does, because it was a lot of energy, like intense energy. Nikki kept going, "Are you sure we're here?" Like, I don't feel like I'm quite here. And I'm like, that's because they're messing with our vibration a little bit. And so the questions were a lot about getting in alignment and where your point of attraction is. And when you're looking at things, where are you looking at it from? And what's your point of attraction? Like if you're looking out in the world and all you're seeing is everything that's wrong with the world, that's your point of attraction, is what's wrong with the world. And I was like, isn't there a bunch of us kind of looking at the world the last few years, like what the hell is going on with the world? Or if you look at the world and you're seeing all the beauty of the world, then that's your point of attraction. Doesn't mean that the shit still doesn't exist, because we know it does, but what's your point of attraction? And I really feel like that's why I'm so guided to nature so often. People don't call me when things are going great. People call me when they struggle, or when they've lost somebody, or when they're fighting through something. And so having those times where I can be out and doing fun things, or seeing the beauty, or being in nature, and all of those things, nature has become such a big deal for me, because my point of attraction is to see the beauty, right? That's my goal. And I do think people have really struggled with that the last few years. And so they talked all afternoon about what is your point of attraction. And Nikki and I would be talking about something later in our travels. And I'd be like, okay, well, what's our point of attraction when we're talking about that? Is our point of attraction that we don't have it, that we're lacking it, that we can't do it? Or is our point of attraction that we're creating support, or we're getting help, or we're working on it, or whatever? And it really made us check in, like, where are we focusing, and how are we focusing from inside out? And I thought, well, damn, that's a really good lesson, because you can use it on relationships, career, money, on anything that you're creating, like all the stuff. You can always check in where your point of attraction is. And if it's not where you want it to be, you can't necessarily jump from here to here. And so then they gave us lots of different tools on how to baby step yourself into a better point of attraction. And I think that's where people get a little bit stuck, is they try to go from here to here. Like, I'm broke, I want to be a millionaire. And they try to make this big, huge jump. And instead of saying, okay, I'm broke, I'm going to start learning about money a little bit more. I'm going to start working on my mindset a little bit. I'm going to get some help with how to fix my finances. I'm going to look into my relationship on money. And they just start to do little baby steps. Then you can get from here to here really quickly, but you don't have to take that jump, because then people get the jump and they say, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. And then they just come back here. So to me, I really thought it was cool, that point of attraction piece. I thought that was really powerful. Yeah, Ruby, she is sick of winter. Let's just put it that way. Okay, Buffy said exactly what I wanted to hear about. Absolutely. Kathy said, I'd be interested in those baby steps she talks about when shifting patterns and turning downstream. And I think that is trying to get yourself to think about a thought. Because a lot of times if we're in that pain thought, you need to start with just little things. Like even, okay, so I've been sick all week and it's been shitty. Like I haven't had stomach shit for a long time. So I'm like, this is awful. And so instead of keep coming to think about that, I was like, okay, I know this is temporary. It's just the stomach flu. And I know it's temporary. I also know it's probably some energetic things because I was in Sedona and I had Abraham, and it honestly was so much fun that it shifted my vibration. And what was so interesting is when we came back to North Dakota, the shift from where we were to coming back into the airport was so noticeable. And I thought, wow, people here, we are struggling with this winter. And we are, because it's been a really hard winter, right? But the vibration and the drop in vibration was so noticeable. And so it's not surprising my body is being affected by that. I'm affected by vibration anyways. And so I thought that is fascinating. And so I know it's temporary. I know my vibration had some shifts and some healing and some high vibing for a few days that I'm not used to because I've been kind of in this winter thing. I know that sooner or later I'll start to feel better. Like you just have to talk yourself into little baby thoughts that feel better than the shittiest of thoughts. And their books have 1,000 exercises in them, Kathy. So I would actually say, either listen to the YouTubes, which I think you do anyways, but a lot of their exercises on how to move you are in their books. And I'll try to start teaching some of them too, and letting people sharing about the ones that I use, because I do think that they're incredibly helpful. They give you a tool. It's a whole toolbox. So I thought it was really, really great. And to notice when you're going upstream and how to turn yourself around, like, oh, wow, I am really in a shitty point of attraction right now. This is not helping me. Let me take a bath, take a nap, take a break, get a mentor, any of those kinds of things, and have some support. That was one of the things I did was I hired a mentor because I really needed the consistency and the accountability. And with the energy piece, like that's some of the new package that I have coming up, is because there's some mentorship in it. There's some energy work in it. There's some fun in it. Like there's a whole bunch of things that when I looked back, I was like, this is really what I did when things really started to shift in my life. And I've had to work really hard to make things shift because I tend to make things hard, or I used to. Not as bad as I used to, but it's a package that I wanted to create for people that are ready to transform some things and use the tools. Ask and it is given, I think, Kathy, is one of them. What's another one? They have several books. I would just go on Amazon because there's several. I don't have any out in my she shed to show you, but I know I have some inside. Sorry, sister. Yep, new boundaries are always hard, but they're typically really good. So your point of attraction is boundaries are hard. And so you could say, you know what? Learning to hold a boundary is hard. And I can do hard things. I know I can do hard things. You've been doing hard things for a couple years now, many years, but the last couple years for yourself, you've been doing hard things to get things in a better space. So I know I can do hard things. I know that this feeling is temporary because it is. I know that when I practice things that I get better at them. And so I know that's going to change. I know that the boundary is, when I really sit with it, it's healthy for me. So again, you just need to kind of move yourself forward just a little bit. that make sense, you guys? That point of attraction, that is a big deal. I think it's really fascinating. Okay. All right. Questions, comments. And I put a couple links up there of different things that I have. So we have the Sedona retreat, but I also have spots left in my fall retreat, and that's coming up in October. So if you want to do more of an intuition retreat, not that we don't do intuition in Sedona because it's really easy to do it there, but my fall retreat is a freaking kick-ass retreat, if I do say so myself. We had so much fun we have fun every year. But I always talk about the year before, and we had so much fun. We had a lot of new faces last year, so don't be afraid if you're brand new. That's okay. I have some regular people that come a lot, and they always show the newbies around. So we have that coming up. We have the expos coming up, so I'll be in different places. We got the Fargo Expo at the end of April. We have Iowa coming up in May, and then in June I have Butte and Billings, which I'm super, super pumped for. And I will be out in the Tetons. I'm going to be in the Tetons. I'm going to be in Big Sky. I'm going to go up to Glacier. So I have some fun offers coming up that include some of those fun national parks. All right, questions, comments, my friends. Comments on or questions on Abraham. And if you want to look up Abraham Hicks, I just watch them on YouTube. They do have a website. They have tons of stuff you can purchase off their website, all that good stuff. But they have a ton of stuff on YouTube as well. You know, it was interesting because they've been around for years and years and years. And they asked at the beginning of the event, and it was sold out. 1,000 people sold out. And they asked how many were new. And I would say, like, had not seen them in person. 3/4 of the room raised their hands. And I thought that was fascinating. I was like, wow, for as long as they've been around and they still have that many new people coming in. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was really, really neat. So they are a good voice to have in your head. We'll put it that way. All right, my friends. Any other questions or comments for today? I am still recovering, so I am not going to stay on too long today. This whole week has kind of kicked my ass a little bit, so I definitely still have some resting to do. All right, friends, and that is what I have for you. So I will be back next week when I'm feeling a little better, and we will do some fun and games, and I'll let you know what my new package is and what is coming up in the next few weeks. We'll keep you reminded. Oh, yep. Let me give you the Sedona link. Hold on. Happy to do that. Sedona retreat, and they are on my website as well. There you go. And in Sedona, how that works, you got to fly yourself there and get yourself to Sedona. I fly into Mesa, not the big airport. I fly into the smaller one, and it's about 1.5 to 2 hour drive to Sedona. So just keep that in mind. Typically when we're in Sedona, and I might shift that just a little bit since Danny's going to be there to help. We might break it into her and I will both drive. Last time I had a big bus thing, which was actually great, but I don't know if that's our best bet with parking this year. So we might have 2 cars. So when we're going around as a group, we can stay together. And then I have great rooms that are included in the package at a really great place that I love. It's down in Oak Creek. It's got the best sky in the world. It's really close to Bell Rock. There's trails right there. They're fun little spaces. It's 2 people per, it's like a little A-frame. So it's 2 people per A-frame. So you do have to share with somebody. And oh, it's so awesome. I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. And definitely reach out, email, message if you have questions on those retreats, you guys, because they definitely fill up. Oh, thank you for the healing vibes. I will take them. I will take them this week for sure. Thank you. It's no fun having that stomach flu stuff. And I'm kind of nervous because Eli slept in and he was still sleeping when I came out here. So I'm really hoping he didn't get it. I'm hoping he's just really tired from work this week. So hopefully. All right, friends, I am off. I'm wearing down. So I will see you soon. And I'll talk to you if you have questions on either of the retreats or the expos or anything. Make sure you let me know. Okay. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. See ya.